Good evening, ma'am. This is Rovica Catad from BSHM 2B, and I will be reporting the Chapter 10 of Business Organization and Management entitled Organization for Sales and Advertising. The very importance of selling or the sales department is manifested during periods of depressed business conditions when it is difficult to get orders or to find buyers of the products or service. When business drops off due to a decline of sales, factories close, workers are laid off, and this persists until business gets better, meaning until the company's salesmen will find it easier to get orders. Some concerns take advantage of depression time to put out new products or to improve the present products. Other companies feverishly cut their prices in a frantic effort to get business. Sales and marketing. Sales, as a department of an enterprise, is but a manifestation of the bigger business function of marketing. Very often sales and marketing are used interchangeably. Marketing has been defined as the business activities involved in the flow of goods and services from the point of production to the point of consumption. It is the part of the function of marketing to take the goods from the producers and to perform the necessary functions to make them available to the consumers when he wants them, where he wants them, and in the quantities he wants them. Marketing also develops a demand for goods and then finds the goods which will satisfy the demand. The functions of marketing. Buying. This involves the selection of the kind of goods to be bought and the determination of the quality desired as well as the proper quantity needed for the specified purpose. The buyer also must select the sources of the goods that he wants. Selling. An important characteristic of a capitalistic economy is speculative production, the manufacture of goods before orders for them are received. Manufacturers produce the things that they think consumers will want and then try to sell them. For example, toy manufacturers produce their line of Christmas produced months before the holiday selling season opens. They hope that consumers will like and buy the things they have made. Selling can be divided into three parts: personal selling, advertising, which has been called impersonal selling, and sales promotion, which includes those activities that supplement personal selling and advertising. Transportation. Goods must be transported in most instances from the places where they are produced to the places where they will be consumed. Transportation has a dual duty to perform. Goods must be taken to the places where they are wanted when they are wanted. This function involves the use of railroads, waterways, motor trucks, pipelines, and airplanes. Storage. Storage is another essential marketing function. In many lines of business, goods are produced considerably in advance of the time of sale, and consequently, they must store for varying periods of time. The manufacturer, the wholesaler, and the retailer all store goods to some extent. Hence, all of them perform the storage function. Standardization. The development and maintenance of standards is of value in helping buyers and sellers to transact business in an intelligent and helpful manner. There may be standards of quantity, such as weights and measures, and container and can sizes, or standards of quality, which are concerned with such differences in goods as grade, substance, wearability, and serviceability. Market finance. Handling of any economic good in a capitalistic system calls for a method of financing. If the goods are paid for immediately, the buyer must provide the necessary funds, which may be either his own or those that he has borrowed. If payment is postponed, The seller extends the credit to the buyer for a period of time and thus temporarily assumes the burden of financing the transaction. Market risk. The mere act of owning goods carries with it the inescapable burden of assuming certain risk in connection with them. This risk arises from the possibilities of the goods may be damaged or destroyed in some manner, they may deteriorate and become unusably useless, they may be stolen, the price may move unfavorably, and the goods may be rendered obsolete by new invention style. When goods are sold on credit, the seller assumes a risk even though he no longer owns the goods because the buyer may not pay what he owes. Market information. If the businessman hopes to achieve success in the face of the rugged competition that is characteristic of many fields, he must have market information upon to base his decisions. This information covers such topics as prices, the extent of the market, location of the market, consumer preferences, the character of the demand, and conditions of supply. The sales organization. The sales organization should be developed to meet the specific needs of the enterprise. The organization structure, however, is influenced by many factors among which are the nature of the product, the nature of the market sought, the marketing plan, the outgrowth of custom or tradition, the size of the company and volumes of sales, and the organizational philosophy of top management. Nature of the product. The company should choose the type of organization best suited to market the product. For instance, industrial or producers' goods are often sold direct to the consumers or with a minimum of channels of distribution and therefore require a smaller sales organization to distribute the same volume. Many types of business goods are technical in character, thus require an engineer consultant to sell them. Nature of market sought. The nature of the market sought influences the type of sales organization somewhat in the same manner as does the nature of the product. The market for consumers' goods is a broad one. The market for producers' goods is more restricted. Therefore, a manufacturer who would sell his product in both markets would likely adjust his sales force on a functional basis to meet the various conditions that might arise. The marketing plan. Type plan of marketing is often governed by the nature of the product as well as by the market desired, although they are not only basis of selecting a particular plan. The manufacturer, for instance, may sell the woman's silk hosiery he produced through any or a combination of the methods, such as direct to the consumer, either through personal selling or mail orders, through wholesalers or retailers to the consumer, through selling agents, through company branches to the retailers, and any combination of the foregoing. Customs and tradition. Custom or tradition is influential in determining the channel to be used for marketing the product, and the particular channel suggests certain types of sales organization. Certain companies break with customs and select channels they deem best and which are particularly noticeable in the frequent attempts to fit organization to the capacities available sales personnel. For example, if the logical sales manager is deficient in certain aspects of his job, as estimating future sales possibilities, although he is superior as a leader of the sales force, a separate sales research and sales budgeting division may be established. The size of the company. The size of the enterprise and its sales volume have much to do with the organization or the sales force. The small enterprise may have no separate sales research, advertising, or promotional department, whereas the large enterprises may have these departments, attached to the parent organization and may also have similar departments for their respective operating divisions. The philosophy of the management. This factor may likewise influence the sales organization structure. One company, for instance, may be inclined to believe in highly decentralized control with all major decisions in relation to credits, advertising, and so forth confined in the home office. On the other hand, another company may follow the practice of promoting decentralized sales activities. Both companies may operate branches in various cities as a matter of convenience for physical supply. The company operating under a centralized system directs all the sales from the headquarters, whereas the other company, following the centralized practice, may give the branch manager great freedom restricted only by broad policies. Essential functions of selling effort. Making sales does not mean merely taking orders. It means locating more and more possible users of the product or service and persuading them to buy. Selling may be divided into three functions, namely finding out what people want and need, finding people who want or need it, and getting orders from them. In a big marketing organization, the function of selling would be further subdivided into the following functions. Product planning and development. This function finds out what customers want and need. It seeks to satisfy the desires of buyers and determines the kind, form, style, and quality that the goods to be sold should possess. Contactual function. This refers to the task of seeking out and locating buyers. When salesmen go from establishment to establishment looking for buyers who may want their goods, they are engaged in this function. Demand creation. This is essentially the task of advertising. Selling is not involved merely in satisfying existing needs. It also creates new desires and demands. Negotiation. The seller must negotiate with the buyer on quality, quantity, shipment, payment, and other incidentals of the sale. Contractual. The seller transfers title over his goods to the buyer. This is done through a contract, whether verbal or written. Channels of distribution. By channel of distribution are meant the steps by which products are distributed from the producer or manufacturer to the consumer. It refers to the course followed in the transfer of title to goods. In case, however, of enterprises that render services rather than manufacture articles, the product is almost always sold directly to consumers. But for manufacturers, the selection of the proper channels of distribution is very essential. In the flow of goods from a manufacturer to the consumer, the following channels may be used. From the manufacturer directly to the consumer. A manufacturer may sell his goods directly through the use of company salesmen, retail outlets owned by the company, and selling only products or through mail orders. From the manufacturer to a retailer to the final consumer. Items of personal consumption may be sold through this channel. From the manufacturer to the wholesaler to the retailer to the consumer. This channel is usually called the orthodox or normal channel because it is most often used. Groceries, hardware, drugs, and dry goods move from the manufacturer to the consumer in this fashion. From the manufacturer through a sales agent to the wholesaler to the retailer and finally to the consumer. Very often, this channel is lengthened further when two or more wholesalers or two or more retailers are involved in the chain. The work of the various channels makes more efficient the marketing function. We may examine the work according to the following paths that the flow of goods may take. Through jobbers, direct to retailers, direct to consumers, and through brokers or agents. Kinds of goods. The sales manager may handle the marketing of producers' goods and consumers' goods. Producers' goods, often called industrial goods, are those goods used in the further production of other goods. Consumers' goods are sold to ultimate consumers for their own use. Producers' goods are divided into raw materials such as iron ore, lumber, cotton, chemicals, or agricultural products. Fabricated parts such as the spare parts used in the assembly of automobiles, radios, refrigerators, and other appliances. Equipment such as machinery, conveyors, office equipment, and the like, and supplies, which are goods needed in production but which do not enter into the product itself. The market for producers or industrial goods is a concentrated one. There is a limited number of buyers, but when they buy, they do so in large individual purchases. Technical considerations are prone to come in when buyers decide to buy producers' goods. Consumers' goods are divided into convenience goods, shopping goods, specialty goods, and unsought goods. Convenience goods are those that customers want to buy immediately with minimum shopping effort. Examples are cigarettes, soaps, drugs, newspapers, magazines, chewing gum, candy, and the most grocery products. It can be further classified into three subtypes, primarily on the basis of how customers think about products and buy them. These subclassifications are staples, impulse goods, and emergency goods. Shopping goods are those goods for which customers do shop, comparing the price and quality of various brands by shopping in several stores, studying performance evaluations, and reading advertisements. They can be divided into two classifications depending on what customers are seeking: homogeneous and heterogeneous shopping goods. Specialty goods are those that customers insist upon finding and search for until they find. Examples include jewelry items, watches, expensive chinaware, automobiles, and evening clothes. Unsought goods are those items that potential customers don't want yet, or don't know they can buy, or aren't looking for. Examples include memorial park, cemetery lot, encyclopedia, and more. Advertising. Advertising is defined as any paid form of non-personal presentation and promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. This definition involves four key elements: page form, non-personal presentation, ideas and services as well as goods, and an identified sponsor. Advertising is an integral factor in modern merchandising. Its motive is to create demand for a particular product or service. Advertising specifically strives to present the item advertised in a favorable light. For instance, advertising carried by the trade association seeks to foster the demand for the product of the industry represented by the association. Advertising is attributed to certain specific purposes. The primary purpose is to bring the company and its product quickly and favorably to the attention of the consumers who may not be reached by the salesman in a reasonably short time. The secondary purpose is to pave the way of salesmen, and the third purpose is to create goodwill toward a company. Purpose of advertising. The study of business shows that advertising is used for numerous purposes. Some companies, however, have not given adequate thought to the question of exactly what they are trying to accomplish with their advertising. Among the purposes of advertising that may be mentioned are the following: bringing customers to the place where goods are sold. The store tries to sell substantial quantities of the merchandise advertised to get customers into the stores and to develop the habit of coming for the subsequent requirements. Department stores use advertising in a similar manner, featuring different price appeals such as school opening sales, pre-season or past season sales, economy sales, and more. persuading customers to ask for a specific product. For example, a number of children's television programs are sponsored by manufacturers of food products. A program consisting of cowboy stories, a Mickey Mouse cereal, or anything that arouses the intense interest of children. Somewhere in the program, the youngsters are instructed to insist that their mothers buy the product of the sponsoring manufacturer. To assist salesmen in making sales upon calling on the customers. Extensive advertising is used by the manufacturer for this purpose. The idea is to familiarize the customer with his products and to create a favorable attitude toward his company before the salesman is extended a cordial welcome by the customer. For example, metal producers frequently advertise in trade papers that are read by their customers. Other companies provide the retailer with attractive window displays and store decoration that serve the dual purpose of creating consumer interest by the retailer. Producing direct sales. Under some circumstances, advertising is used for the purpose of persuading the customer to make direct orders or purchases. For instance, the catalogs of mail orders houses present merchandise in such a way that the customer can, without going to the shopping center and without the vendor, write out an order. Building institutional goodwill. Particularly, all advertising expected to build goodwill to some degree, but in some cases, this may be the primary objective. For instance, small loan companies have distributed a large number of pamphlets guiding housewives in the selection of merchandise and intelligent expenditure on a limited income. The primary purpose of distribution of these pamphlets is the development of goodwill towards the company. The advertising department is usually a division of sales department in a manufacturing enterprise, in which case the advertising manager is responsible to sales manager. It is essentially an aid to selling and in a part of the selling function. Sales are said to be lifeblood of a business. Certainly without sales, which means orders, a company could not continue in business very long. The continuance primarily depends on the orders that the sales department gets. The only way by which a business can sustain itself year in and year out is by making sales and collecting money from these sales. Selling does not mean merely taking orders. It means digging up possible users of products or services and persuading them to buy. That's all, and thank you for listening.